All right, for some reason I left my phone holder on my bike, so I decided to grab a quick bite to eat at home and then come to the park and live stream from the park. And the truth is, I've been doing really badly for the past week. I know I'm not looking forward to going back to any job. Not looking forward to going back to any type of structure in my day. Sometimes when I'm vacation too long, it reminds me of how bad the captivity is while you work. And don't get it twisted. It's a form of captivity. Getting paid to watch a mess. That's the way it should be. This should be a public service announcement that I get paid to do every single day that reminds the proletariat that they are trapped and they need to fight back against the conditions of their domestication. Because if you don't fight back against the conditions of your domestication, then you become more conditioned every single day. Every hour that you're at your prole job in the wage cage is another day that you're never going to get back. And so I think it just becomes harder and harder for proles to really start thinking about an actual uprising, a full on, you know, full throttle campaign to escape. Bobby Martin, you're too generous. Like I say, YouTube pays me. My audience doesn't have to. I appreciate the donation, but you guys never have to donate. I mean, again, YouTube is my employer. I do this for money. I only do this for one reason: money. It's like I watched the 402 Thunder, and he'll say it all day long. The only reason I'm still playing Call of Duty is because you fools will keep watching it, and YouTube keeps sending me money. It's a formality. Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. Aztec MS, I'm eating Libby's liver hearted. It's healthy. It tastes like vegan pork chops and smells different. Ugh, the only thing I've ever... Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not a hater of liver and onions. I've just never been able to cook it myself. The only place I've ever eaten liver and onions from is the Golden Corral. And I don't even think they're around anymore. Or last I heard, they were so expensive that they're competing with sit-down restaurants now. Like, if I'm gonna go pay as much as the Golden Corral, I better have a waiter and I better be eating a fat steak, because the Golden Corral, for the quantity that you get, the quality is terrible. So, and I've always, like, if someone says let's go eat at the Golden Corral, as long as it's early enough in the day, I don't mind the Golden Corral. It's just the price tag these days. It's just, everyone wants too much for... Oh my gosh. I get asked that question almost on a daily basis. And my physical therapist, she keeps telling me, it's like, Millennial Steam, you need to get out of Arizona. There's nothing here. And I'm like, I don't know where else I would go. Like, I've lived in the same square mile my entire adult life. I don't even know what's over there. I couldn't tell you what's over past that street and going down that way. I don't know what's that way. I've lived a very, very confined life. Oh my goodness gracious. Christopher Skid. Oh my gosh, please don't. It makes me ashamed when you guys give too much money in the chat. I genuinely don't know what to say when you guys donate money. Like, I don't, when you guys donate money, take into consideration that YouTube only pays me once a month. So it's, You earned it. Thank you, Inu Blue. It's just I'm a content creator, and I have to create content, whether it's you know, as they say, everything I create is based on a true story. The names have been changed to hide the guilty, right? Let's see. I have a lot of big, thick women in Texas, especially in San Antonio, because all the barbecue and Mexican food. Uh, you know, it's just like with anything, right? Men have a palate. Some day we feel like tacos, other day we feel like the skinniest, tiniest little skinny thing with no body fat. And the next day, bam, appetite returns. Yeah, he did earn it. You're more let's see. You're more motivated than most people. Asian. Asian. I don't know how I feel about Asian is an acquired taste in my opinion. Like definitely I would guess I would say if I had to say Asian food, I would say Japanese. Definitely not Cambodian, Vietnamese, Korean. I mean, there's Asian and then there's Asian. I like Japanese, small Japanese women. Not too thick, but also not too skinny. You said women with no body fat. Asian. So very, very skinny white girls. I've always gone out with really skinny white girls. I've had two girls that anyone who saw them on the street would say they were thick, and I mean a thick cut of bacon. But I mean, it all depends on what there is to eat, right? You're walking through the bush, no pun intended, and what you see is what you eat. Um, so it may be a blonde woman today. Like I've always been very partial to blonde hair and blue eyes. I also like my women tall. Like I am very, very, I like really tall women with really big feet. And so I I definitely don't like darker women. I've never been with a woman that wasn't pale, and I've never really pursued a woman that wasn't pale. But it's not to say I haven't been attracted to. Like last night, I was actually looking at GoPro footage of running into a woman at the gym when I used to ride my bike all the time when I didn't have a car. And I was thinking to myself, back then she was trashy, she was covered in tattoos. She had a really, really terrible backstory from her family, her mother who abandoned her and her father who had to take care of her for the rest of her life, but she never really developed a rapport with her father. So you like to be dominated. I do have a tendency to like taller women and powerful women. I am automatically attracted to a woman that's over 5'10" and makes over $100,000 a year. Money and height, definitely a big, big selling point for me. Tall, healthy, big, you know. I don't know, like I said, it's sometimes you're just driving down the street and you see a KFC and you pull over and you just bang the KFC. And other days, oh look, there's Susie over there by the Taco Bell. And then from there you look across and there's a Subway girl. Bam, bam, bam. Ooh, date Russian women. He's like his solid toast. We all know what it's like to get fleeced, right? Oh Lord. Man. Joke, bro. Dude, sometimes I'll be watching some stuff on the hub and suddenly, it goes from he's giving it to her towards the other way around. And I'm like, whoa, maybe a little warning here before we go to tiny Hispanic woman bangs this dude with a giant zucchini. Like, whoa, give the audience a chance, man. Let us process what's going on the screen before you just shove it. Before you shove it in, it reminds me of the Asian massage parlor where, you think you're getting a regular massage, and suddenly there's no towel, and fingers have vanished. And you're just kind of like, whoa, lady, you're supposed to give people a little warning before you boom. And suddenly you have a 60-year-old Asian woman who's doing things that you only imagined would happen to you in prison. But of course, these women are trained professionals. Every woman that works in an Asian massage parlor probably can't get a job at the Taco Bell across the parking lot. So, yeah, sometimes, things go wrong. Communication barriers break down. MS, my wife wears a size 12. Why don't you have her size? With laugh out loud. I have very rarely met a woman who wears larger than a size 9, I think is the largest foot I've ever been with. But if I had to guess what my favorite foot size is, it's a 6.5. Not a 7, not a 7.5, but a 6.5. I like little feet, but I like big women with little feet. It's something I noticed right away, especially when I first meet a person. It's like, okay, let's see, what do you got? No cans, no rear, little feet. All right, get in the bus. We're driving. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad yesterday's over. I have no idea what happened yesterday. Yesterday was a train wreck of a day. Like, I woke up angry. Did a live stream. The live stream really took off yesterday. For some reason, people like watching people who have nowhere to go on Christmas. So sitting outside of the Kroger's and Walmart was a good shot. You guys also like the vid. Did you guys see that homeless guy that just whipped it out yesterday while I was making a video and started taking a pee? I did not know that was going to happen because the police had just come by like 30 seconds before, and suddenly this dude's taking a number 1 like it's no big deal. What size does Mars is the dog. Aztec. Mars is the dog. I don't know. I haven't seen her. I think we're going on 3 weeks now. So, did you ever see the compilation of reporters and like 90 read the same script? Yeah, that's what happens with me with ChatGPT. That's why I've had to go away from script reading, because as A pointed out a few days ago, I think under the influence, I might add, that they all sound the same. And I truly believe that the ChatGPT doesn't know how to make scripts, so it just keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. So I think that's what reporters say as well. Let's see. 7 is considered average for women. And I guess that's why I like below average. I like a 6.5. So this is what I've heard with shoe size. 6 is small, 8 is medium, and 10 is large with women's feet. I prefer very overly done pedicures as well. So if you pull out your feet and they look like you've been, you've been in a cave all day mining for coal. If you have coal miner feet, huge turn off. Ballerina feet too. Oh my God, ballerinas have the worst feet you can ever imagine. Any dancer has beat to crap feet. I mean, they may be 99% gorgeous on top, but those feet take a beating while dancing, especially when they're dancing as a major or as an occupation. So I've seen a few 11 feet when I was in college. There was a girl that I used to sit with or behind in anthropology class, and she would sit in front of me every day. She never said a word to me. She would sit and then she'd roll back underneath her chair, her giant number 11 flip-flops. And I'm like, wow, those are some big ones. And so I'm just like, I didn't even know they made flip-flops in size 11 for women. They must be men's. So, yeah, those are the only time they look like skis. They didn't look like flip-flops. They look like skis underneath her desk. So you don't like tradeswomen, hardworking feet, hardworking feet, man. There's this one chick that I watch on on the Hub, right? Her name is Bubblegum, and she has pink hair, right? And in one of the videos, she's doing a thing with the feet. Now it's just like I was looking at them. It's like if you're gonna put your feet on the internet, you could at least do something with them. Because I mean, some people don't take into consideration the connoisseurs that are out here when it comes to very particular things. I mean, I don't think I know a single man that doesn't like something unique, right? Something, whether it's bunions, corns, heel or ankles, calves. Every man has like a certain trigger, and I don't know why that is. Like, and I mean, women aren't excluded from this in any conceivable way. Women have very, very exact triggers as well. Like, I was watching this video of this, like, normally, like, I don't like Asian. She looks very Cambodian, I would say. The big face, the big teeth. And, like, the scene is her. She's, like, working out. She's got her little butt in the air. And then suddenly there's this dude, total Gen Zero, white socks, broccoli haircut. He's in the gym. And it's like, oh, man, what am I going to do with this? And he just pulls out this gigantic eggplant. And I'm like, really? I mean, you just never know how much heat anyone's packing at any given time. Amazon women industrial athlete feet. Oh, God, those industrial athletes. Well, I've seen the little Amazon van, jumping in and out of my apartment complex for days. So I don't think that it's that strike is really helping the Amazon women. But I've met a lot of Amazon drivers through my job. Female Amazon drivers, and they say that the amount of personal equipment that is purchased is substantial. I always wonder how women have entire collections of statuettes, let's call them that, statuettes. Who's your favorite baseball team? Are you an Arizona Diamondbacks fan? Oh, I can't stand pro ball. Any sort of sport, organized sport. I can't stand sports in general. I had to stop watching bass fishing because it became so overly saturated with corporations. It's like every time I watch anything, if I glance over, and I can't wait to see the tampon ad, right, in Major League Baseball. Like, they've got every other product that you can imagine advertised around the stadium. I want to see tampons advertised as the best, right next to Depends diapers for women. So yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. Someone put this in the comments that guy that I was talking about in the video that I uploaded earlier, I deleted it because I don't think it's substantiated, and as much toxic behaviors on the internet. I think a lot of men end up in trouble because they're extremely lonely, and I think that women take a very large advantage of men that don't know what to do with their loneliness. And by loneliness, that's what we call your member in men's world. Hello, Stam. Hello, Uncono. I hope you had a better day than I did yesterday. I was raging out of control. I started drinking at like 10 or 11 o'clock yesterday morning. Let's see. Hello, Pores. Hey, Big Willie, at work, we should be doing a live this weekend, MS. Hey, MS. Hey, Willie. Hey, everybody. Hi, A. I hope you're enjoying the Florida weather and not getting eaten by a giant python or some horrible thing that lives in the Everglades. I don't know. Does Bigfoot live in the Everglades? He seems to live everywhere. Oh, that'd be a great movie to watch. Bigfoot versus giant python versus giant alligator. Do we live in a stick and stupid country? I mean, America beat itself at the polls this year, so I'm gonna say yes. America beat America. Hey, I missed you. It's great. I love it. There are lots of gators for sure. So plenty of alligators and no Bigfoots wrestling the alligators over respect and dignity. I think if I ever went to Florida, I'd probably spend all my time looking for Bigfoot in the swamp. I hear it's really spooky. Like everything I've watched about like Louisiana and Florida is it's super spooky in the swamp at night. And all kinds of weird black magic in the swamp. It's Cajun country, right? Haitians and magic and I don't know what else happens. Love happens in the swamp, I imagine. You know, I've heard that. I've watched 15 seasons of Swamp People, and I've heard that the gator meat is tasty, but you have to cook it in a certain way. Yesterday was a good day because I did nothing. Uncono, I wish I could say the same thing. Florida man, laugh out loud. I've tried to gator meat in Louisiana. I'm from the deep south. Swamp Thing was a good cartoon from when we were kids. I didn't like Swamp Thing as much as I liked the live action Swamp Thing. Like, why does Swamp Thing always have to find women? Like, can't Swamp Thing find something better to do in the swamp? Can't Swamp Thing do crochet or find a hobby? He can work from home. Sage, hi. Hello. God, there was 100 people watching me yesterday at one time. Jesus, don't you people have families to spend the holidays with? You don't want to spend your holidays with miserable Steam. He's bad for your colon. I don't even know where your colon is. It's probably right next to your herpes. You know, I need the creator of Captain Planet once in Hawaii. He was really a bleeding heart. He wanted everyone our age to become climate Avengers. Look how that turned out. I don't know. I mean, did Captain Planet really become successful? Like, when I think of Captain Planet, I think of Cabbage Patch Kids. I think of Rainbow Bright. I think of Raggedy Ann. I think of Punky Brewster. There's a name you guys probably haven't heard in a while. Let's see. I've been to crochet. Prefer knitting. What's crochet? It's like that thingy where you knit with the two needles, right? I've seen it on TV at some point. Let's see. I spent the holidays on Christmas Eve. I probably would spend it with family, but some people were working. Yeah, it's the sad truth. There's a lot of people were working this year. Let's see. I'm going to Hawaii in May. Good for you, Big Willie. I grew up in Florida next to a swamp. I love the Everglades. David VR, did you ever see Bigfoot in the Everglades? Look how employees grind down their employees. It's sad. Are you going to work or Honolulu? If I ever go to Hawaii, I always wanted to go to the Big Island. I don't want to go to Oahu because I hear that Oahu is very touristy. I mean, all the islands are touristy. I mean, Hawaii is the most expensive state in America to live in, requiring a basic annual salary of $150,000 a year in order to get by. But everyone who's lived there, they love it. I loved Rainbow Bright and Punky Brewster. She had a great golden retriever named Brandon. Those were my two favorites And Shira, Princess of Power. Shira. Shira. Oh my gosh. You know, the one thing, that I never understood growing up with He-Man and, Masked Crusaders and G.I. Joe, 80s G.I. Joe, the guns didn't make gun noises. They made pew pew noises, and no one ever got hurt. On a cartoon that's about the army, no one gets hurt. I mean, some people get poisoned, but no one actually got shot. I think Bigfoot is a Pacific Northeast thing. So you're thinking of the skunk ape, which is just Bigfoot's little cousin. No, get a sword yesterday. It was pretty cool. Where would you buy a sword? The Big Island is cool. I like 10 different climates. I worked for a farm there while I lived in a tent next to a labyrinth. But yes, hella expensive. Yes, it's very expensive. I knew a girl that moved to Hawaii after she finished her first degree here at ASU, and this would have been it would have been 2000, right? And she moved to to Honolulu, and she lived with like 10 people and rented a room, and she had to have 3 jobs. No, never say Bigfoot. Never seen Bigfoot. I had a family member that went camping. Let's see. I make 160K. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be fun. She'll love it. Let's see. Are we talking about cryptids? We were. They sell a sword and throwing stars and other crazy stuff at the beach store next door. Throwing stars seem totally impractical. I agree. It's something that Hollywood glorified, like getting it on for more than 15 seconds. I mean, after 15 seconds, most of us are blowing our steam and then we're done. Then all we want to do is take a nap and eat something. It's our 2-year anniversary. She's taken me back so many times after cheating on her. How did she find out that you're cheating? Yes, we are talking about cryptids. That's insane, having 3 jobs and needing roommates. God, I hope I don't have to do that when I moved out. Hawaii is very, very, very expensive. You look up the cost of everything in Hawaii, it is like triple the normal of what it is to be on the mainland. Wait, don't give her an STD and all can be forgiven. I get checked after every hookup and won't give her any diseases. I don't have to worry about that because if my left hand is cheating on me with my right hand, then we have a problem. The hairy palm sisters are very loyal and clean. Oh, that's Hawaii. That makes sense. Yep. Never mind. Yep. She finds out from cheating because we live in one small rural town and word moves around fast. So Big Willie was caught in the hen house yet again and doesn't learn about his evil ways. Willie, you got to stay out of the hen house. That's why it's called the hen house. That's where the hens hang out. And that's why they taste so good. The hens taste so good. Oh my gosh. You guys wouldn't believe how many channels are out there like mine. You know, I haven't mentioned this on the channel, but I've been getting recommended hundreds of channels that are just like mine, where people are pulling down $200,000 a year for making the same content. Yesterday, when I had 100 people watching the live stream, I was like, "Yep, this is it." I mean, the channels, I've almost gained 100 subscribers in a week, which is really good. But you're a little more personal and especially dark. Thanks, A. I do call it Dark Monster. If you ask every woman to show you your paperwork to see if you have been recently tested, you'll never get laid. I got a clean record. There's no channels like yours. Well, I watch these dudes, right? Like Legion of Men and that Denmo guy. I'm watching these channels that are like mine, except this is their full-time job. Yeah. MS, file a copyright lawsuit. against people copying my content. Well, I was watching this channel and I had heard about it from you guys like a year ago, right? And it's what is that guy? Um, corruption, something, a corrupt world or something like that. I was watching him this morning. The dude's got nothing, man. He's like so flat and uninteresting. Like his content is just uninteresting, and this is the problem I run into with finding new channels to watch is sometimes they're just not interesting to watch. Born in a corrupt born in a corrupt system. Yeah, that's the guy. I was watching him this morning. I'd never seen him before. I saw some of his titles and they look pretty good. Like the one I made an entire script about how he felt about that guy, that immigrant who toasted that lady on the subway, and that nobody did anything. And I was about to start making that, and then I thought, you know what, this isn't worth watching. My channel doesn't care about things like this. So I have to pick and choose what I present on my channel based on what I think my audience wants to see. And for the most part, you guys like watching the same thing every day. So I do the same thing every day. I like him, but he does repeat himself. Yeah, I couldn't stand watching him. I did an outline. I took the transcript from his video. I popped it into ChatGPT. I didn't like what it came up with. The talking points were not worth it for my channel. And you would think a channel as big as his videos only get between 2,000 and 5,000 views. And I've heard about this guy for, like I said, for years. Some people actually came to my channel from his channel. Like John, Going My Own Way and Deconstructing Narcissism. The channels that watch me. Deconstructing Narcissism is one of the main reasons why my channel is as big as it is. When he featured me in one of his videos, I gained thousands of subscribers. It was insane because, again, he's one of those guys that I just can't watch every day. Like, I don't know. You have to be able to either provide giant bosoms on your channel or girls in yoga pants or do something in order to keep me entertained. I'm very visual. So when it comes to channels like that, I can't stay long. Do you watch The Philosophical Gamer? I was watching The Philosophical Gamer for a while, and then he just got too repetitive for me. Like, I understand that people don't want to work, especially Gen Z, and I don't think people should work for less than $20 an hour. But you got to present it in you got to articulate your thoughts a little better to keep an audience. Yeah, I found your channel through Deconstructing Narcissism. I figured as much. Yeah, deconstructing is how I found you. But I think, he said that he's a couple times already. He's a AI channel. Yeah, you're repetitive. No offense. I am repetitive, but people keep coming and watching my channel, so I know it sounds like I'm repetitive, but every video that I make has a starting script from another video. Almost none of my video is generated by me. Yeah, being a younger person in 2024 has its definite downsides. Corporations don't like young people. And that's having a major effect on what they can do. I feel bad for Gen Z. I was just telling my physical therapist the other day that you can't hold it against someone when they have a mental disorder. And there is a lot of attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder in Gen Z. I would say that Gen Z by default comes with a lot of attention deficit disorder, and it's not their fault. They're the TikTok generation. And so when you attach autism to very young people, of course they're going to struggle in the workplace because the workplace is about doing the same thing for a long period of time without taking many breaks. Let's see. Yeah. My best friend's from somewhere. You're logical and your videos are well structured. Thank you, Frankie Diaz. I really appreciate your comments. Uh, yeah, and I mean, as a person myself who struggled with mental disorders and depression my whole life, it's like there's not a whole lot of life out there for people who aren't ultra comfortable in social settings. Like even the gym. I mentioned this in a video earlier this morning, but I go to the gym a lot. In fact, I'm going to be at the gym in 90 minutes again to do a 30-minute walk on the treadmill because I combined my upper and lower body workouts today into one workout. I very, very rarely will do upper lower body workouts, but Christmas closed the gym. There's only one day a year in which I can't go to the gym, and that is Christmas. So I have to combine my workouts or wait to do it. Throws off my schedule with my OCD. I just can't handle it. High school has schizophrenia, but it doesn't really show up until 20 years old. It was really sad. She's kind of stuck at that age. Yeah, I mean, with the people that I've met, when schizophrenia really sets in, just like with any mental disorders, 16 seems to be the age where mental disorders hit you. And I can say this because I was put onto, when I was 16, they put me on, oh God, what's that? Oh my gosh, it's the classic bipolar disorder, medication. Oh my God, I can't think of it. It's so common. What's the classic bipolar medication? It was used as a tranquilizer for pigs before they introduced it into people. And it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't say it. Let's see. I think everyone is on the spectrum, but people can also be genuine beeps. It's good to give people a grace for the things that they can't help, but also to stop a-hole dead in their tracks. Men mentally peak at 28. I hate back in high school that they made you stand in every morning before going into the classroom. Row. Yeah. Xanax? No, not Xanax. Adderall? No. Lithium. So that was my first mental drug that I ever got, lithium, and it is a tranquilizer. Like I remember taking it. I remember walking across the university, and I stopped at the student. What was it? The student recreation complex. I started at the field, and it was a cold day like this. I'm pretty certain it was winter time because I remember being bundled up, and I looked at the field and I threw in my first pill of lithium, and then I threw all of them into my mouth, and I couldn't swallow all of them. So then I threw them all out, and I never took another pill of lithium because I didn't like the way it made me feel. Now there's batteries with that. Lithium. Yep. Yeah. Also, the kids who bring PP to school are often around that age, 15, 16, very sad. I know that's the correlation with mental health in our society definitely peaks at around 16, especially when they've had very negative experiences with their personal education, whether it's bullying, teachers not tolerating them, having difficult relationships at home with their parents, not having any friends. Having substance abuse problems in the home can often lead to kids going that route very quickly. Lithium, like other psychoactives, are meant to knock patients out so that they can't hurt themselves. Well, I tried to put the whole bottle in my mouth because I didn't like the way it made me feel. And I remember it was around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And during those years, particularly my first year of college, was an emotionally draining time in my life. Like I didn't have anything. I had nowhere to go. My house had a sign for sale sign on the front. I had nowhere to turn. Like, I had no friends, no family. I had no future. And I could see already the directory in which my life was going. And I was only 16, and I knew that chances are I was going to spend the rest of my life as a loser. Fast forward, I'm still a loser. Basically living in the same situation as I was back then. There's no career. There's no place to go. There's nothing to do. It's like it traps you. And I understand why these kids go postal. It looks gloomy. It is gloomy in Arizona and cold. Any drugs that are good for you? I take Ambient for sleep. So typically around midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, and depending how much time, because if I have less than 8 hours, I'll cut my Ambient pill in half, and I will use that. Don't have, if I have more hours, if I'm going to get 8 hours before 8 a.m. when I wake up, I'll take the full pill. It really does help. Flu and medication's good. The problem with consuming alcohol is that I use it as a knockout agent, right? So I'll consume alcohol starting at 3 or 4, and therefore I fall asleep, aka pass out, by 7 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'll wake up 5 hours later. Peyotes. Oh my gosh. When I went to Mexico, because I had to, right? I was homeless, and I saw a job on the job board that said, you'll be living in a tent in Mexico as a research assistant. So I had to take it. It was either that or continuing to live on the street. While we were there was that stuff. That plant was everywhere around us in the desert. So we ate it all the time. Speedballs, blues, hallucinate. I've heard a lot of people say good things about mushrooms. One of my senior managers told me that when he got on, he had an experience with those vegetables, that the tree started to melt and that he really enjoyed it. Now, I have never done anything. I've never been around any people who do things, so I don't have the ability to access those things. There are a lot of meds that are good for you, but depending on your situation, your health, your dose, and anything else you're taking, cough syrup is so good. Robitussin. Oh my God, when I was a kid, I loved Robitussin, but I started drinking every day when I was 14. So I've been a terrible person with the sauce since I was barely a teenager, and I never really recovered from it. My life just progressively got worse and worse, from being a teenager into adulthood and now middle age, and you're just like, I can't live without it. It's just very different. And I don't know what I would do without it. Like, if I had to sober up for some reason, I have no idea. I'd probably go crazy and find the rope, because I couldn't do it. There's nothing to look forward to at the end of every day. There's just nothing to do. There's nothing to see. There's no one to talk to. You just kind of, day in and day out, you do the same thing. Like I said in my last video, the pandemic was just me. I would come here occasionally because there was no one here in this park during that time. And I would just sit actually right over there. Right over there. I used to sit over there because this was before my YouTube channel got monetized, so I couldn't live stream. YouTube doesn't let you live stream until you hit 1,000 subscribers, and it took me 20 years. It took me 18 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. So I couldn't live stream. So I would come and I would put my GoPro underwater, right? And I actually ended up dropping my GoPro into the lake. And it's the first time in my entire life that I dove into this lake head first into the water to find my GoPro, because it fell off the fishing string that I was using to watch the fish eat the bait. So no one likes society. We're all kind of just stuck in it. One of my family members would set little jars of Vicks Vapor Rub. Oh my gosh. As growing up as a child in a Mexican household, Vicks Vapor Rub was the #1 cure for anything. Hemorrhoids, leprosy, AIDS, you name it. They brought out the can of Vapor Rub. It is the miracle cure. The day after Christmas sucks because of the grindstone. Yeah, when I walked into Food City and I saw all the employees pulling down the Christmas decorations and just overall looking even more pearly than normal, I was like, yuck. Young men who consider themselves low value should do something that will make them feel good of themselves. Being physically fit is a big accomplishment um, anyone can do, and it doesn't cost a ton. Well, I'll tell you this much, at my current gym, I've seen the same people there for many years, including my school teacher acquaintance, right? She's 60 years old. She knows she's going to retire in 5 years old. Her kids are finishing high school. One of them's going to ASU. The other one is going to be dead end. She knows it already. She's told me several times, I'm going to have to support the male child, and both of these children are adopted and a different color than her, right? And so she's given up on them ever moving out of the house. She's just gotten comfortable. She says that she'll let them live with her until the day she's gone. Public service announced Vicks is not actually a cure for AIDS, but there are ways to manage the disease much better than in the in the 80s. Is Vicks Vapor Rub the cure for leprosy then? Because I could have sworn the Hispanic community told me that it would resolve anything. Like black people say, robotism for everything. You broke your leg, robotism. You cut yourself, robotism. I had no idea. I don't really spend a lot of time with the community. Bring back natural selection. I think the Black Lives Matter movement and how many people were injured. That's a statistic they don't talk about. There were thousands, if not tens of thousands, of injuries from the riot police showing sufficient force to deal with people. And Mess, what did you do for Pearl Christmas? I don't remember. Abolisher, I just don't remember. Everything yesterday, starting at 10 a.m. to when I woke up this morning at 8 a.m. was just a blur of alcohol and cigarettes and more alcohol. Oh, it says that sanity is the future of wealth. Sanity is the future of wealth. I've tried to watch that dude. And people talk about him in my comments all the time. I don't see the point. MS, do a Democratic politicians ever care about poor people? No one cares about poor people. Rich, poor, no one cares about poor people. If you don't have money, you don't exist in this world. I lived in India for a bit, and I got into a rando train station. One night, the rickshaw driver had to take me to the leper colony. They were nice people, but I didn't see any Vicks. So they lied to me again about the healing properties of Vicks. So if it doesn't heal leprosy and it doesn't cure AIDS and it doesn't heal the blind, what is Vicks Vapor Rub really doing? Are you afraid you might get hurt when you're blotto? What if you fall or something? Maybe you should get some of those life alert things. Oh man, my neighbor from downstairs, the meth addict, right? Well, we lived next to each other for 5 years, right? And she would hear me fall down in the middle of the night. She'd run upstairs and help me get up. Because sometimes when I would fall down, I couldn't get up. I was just too drunk. And I just like flop around on the floor. And she'd be like, I could hear you. And she'd run upstairs as soon as she heard me drop. And man, I've had some nasty bruises from falling down the stairs. Nasty, nasty bruises. Like my arm was like, I'm willing to bet that my shoulder was broken for about a year. Um, in which, like the massage therapist that I would see after I fell down, the bruise extended from the top of my shoulder all the way to my elbow. And it was a nasty yellow bruise that I had there for a long time. Poor people don't change the batteries in their smoke detectors. That's funny you say that. The other night, it was around midnight 2 weeks ago, and I was laying there passed out, and suddenly the fire alarm just came on. It said carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide. And I just, like I said, I opened the window, hit the little button to snooze, and I went back to sleep. If only I could have gone up to see baby Jesus, I would be in a better place right now. Having to continue to be alive when you don't like being alive sucks. I seen the serious strange behavior. You see some weird crazy stuff. This lady was eating her husband's ashes little by little. One lady ate Vicks vapor bottle like it's Tic Tacs. I mean, as long as Vicks is edible, right? It's not going to poison you. I don't know what this guy's doing. He's collecting water from the lake. I hope he's not trying to find fish. Damn it, I wish I'd brought my tripod. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. What the F? Oh, I wouldn't eat it. You know, I don't use chapstick because I get too used to eating it. Like, I'll put it on my mouth and then I like the taste of it and I eat it, and I know it's not good for me. MS, you need to change your attitude to get a better job, buy a house, buy a new car, and your own business. Unfortunately, the closest I'll ever get to owning my own business is what you're watching right now. I don't see life getting better. I don't see it getting better either. 2025 is probably going to be one of the most abysmal years for poor people as things get worse for us with the Cheeto in command doing, well, he's already said there's nothing he can do about food prices. So if there's nothing he can do about food prices, guess which way they're going to go? Not the good way. One lady would eat tires. Yeah, Michelin tires. Her boyfriend worked at the factory and would provide her with her strange addiction. She ate bowls of rubber filling rubber bands. She ate rubber bands? Oh my God. I wish people would be more sympathetic. It has menthol, eucalyptus, cambo, pineapple, and some other gross stuff that aren't yummy. It will make you vomit and puke. Inflation is here to stay. You know what makes you vomit and puke? Inflation. Petroleum is probably the greatest ingredient. You're probably right. I don't know why human beings like petroleum. Petroleum jelly seems to be something that people will eat. Perhaps we should return to at least a flower pot gardening, vegetables. I don't know. I don't know what people are going to do for fun in the future, because everything has gotten so out of hand that, it's not really possible for people to enjoy hobbies or eating or jobs like they used to. Most of our lives are pretty miserable. MS, you aren't trying hard enough. Of course I'm not trying hard enough. Hell, I'm not even wearing boots to pull up myself up with my bootstraps. Let's see what he is wearing today. Oh no, look! His feet are hanging out again. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Yeah, unfortunately, the little part on my tripod, this part right here, I left on my bike, so I do have multiple of these at home, but I didn't bring my backpack. I think I keep one in my backpack, and I don't have an alternative one. So let's see. Gardening is a great hobby and skill. Where do you go? When do you go back to work? Next Thursday. Next Thursday is our first day back to work. So let's see. You're asking. You're asking for MS. You're asking for what? When is your going back to work? Yeah. Oh God, I hope I'm not asking for fleece. Are you? Are you asking? When do you? Okay. I thought I didn't answer that. I don't know why this guy out here, he's filling glasses with lake water and talking to himself. This is really strange. Yeah, unfortunately, with all the weeks, we got like 60 hours of extra, what do you call it? Of extra sick time this year. For some reason, they did an adjustment and showed that they shorted us 60 hours. So they gave us an extra 60 hours of sick time. And then I had I think I had like 80 hours of vacation time. So Millennial Steam question, give your prediction on 2025. What will happen? What do you foresee will be good or bad for the American people? I think that we're putting too much emphasis on all these crackpot or people that are being placed into office, and Elon Musk is not good for poor people. More of the same. We're going to see a weekly scandal. Every single time you turn on the news, you're going to see a new scandal. Trump can't do much. No, he can't. He ran on the hate vote this year, and because there was no one else to vote for, 8 million people stayed home instead of voting. Yeah, no one really likes Musk at all. I'm actually surprised that he has 12 children. I mean, I'm sure all of his baby mamas are rich right now, but just having to pull down your pants for him. Yeah, that's the dock worker strike. The dock worker strike didn't go anywhere. Those dock workers are never going to see a thin dime. Well, those dock workers think that they have job security. They're actively working to automate those docks. There's no reason why they wouldn't do that. Elon's from South Africa, and he's been exploiting people his entire life. The fact that he has 12 kids is proof that money gets you everywhere. Absolutely agree with that. Money does get you everywhere, and everywhere that money doesn't get you, you don't want to be. So that's the reality of things. Is he's clearly shown that the privileged will stay privileged and the unprivileged, the less affluent, are definitely going to be hurting like crazy. His kids don't like him. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that Elon's kids don't like him? I played the lotto for Christmas. I spent $20, won $10, had 2 new tickets. You go, eh? You shouldn't have kids you can't afford. Tell that to the proletariat. Any person who's having to feed their kids right now on food stamps should probably never have had children in the first place. If you have to eat government cheese while receiving government housing, while receiving government anything, Number one, your job shouldn't allow you to qualify for food stamps. Any job that qualifies for food stamps isn't a real job. It's straight up slavery. Let's see. That one kid he brought to Congress as a human shield has the name of a product barcode. Do you think his dad qualifies as human? Let's see. Thing is, proletariat are supposed to have prole children for the army. But those prole children don't like the army for all of the reasons I've mentioned 100 times. The army has low pay, low housing, low food, and basically no career path, and you can't escape. You can't just say I quit when you join. It's not like working at McDonald's. You can't just stop making I ain't gonna make the fries anymore, little bro. Don't worry, all those benefits will. When is the male birth control pill coming out? I've been asking that question for the last 30 years. How hard is it to make a male birth control pill? Like, really? I mean, we understand that if the male birth control pill comes out, that's the end. That's truly the end to the human population. Be gone within a few years after Trump admin. Let's see. Alonzo, to make more money. Let's see. A says, unknown. A male birth control exists, but lots of men are super resistant to it. It's not FDA approved, but close. It's an effing hard to make new drugs that do just one thing you want them to do. Why don't we just cut off their wieners? I got the ultimate source of birth control for Johnny Sixpack, who's going to knock up Susie. Let's just take it away. You got to pay to play, man. You got to show that you can make a certain income. If you're not pulling down $500,000 a year, you don't get a wiener. How is that for enthusiasm? Let's see the small businesses start popping up all over. Can always get them excited if you feel really strongly about it. What's funny is that they'll chop off your nuts off the drop of a hat, but they don't chop off women's nuts that easily. And I've also heard that even if you get your nuts cut off, that they can grow back. So, like a bee, their stinger falls off after they sting. I'm gonna need some water. No stinger for you, Johnny Sixpack. You created one child with Susie Rottencrotch, and that's it. You're done. You better pick wisely, because you're not gonna have 10 baby mamas just because they won't cut off your stinger. I can see that, Johnny Sixpack's walking over to the next Susie's house, and suddenly he feels something in his trousers, right? And he's walking along, and he feels something warm just roll down the side of his leg, and it's like, what's that? He looks down, and his stinger's laying on the ground in front of him, and he tries like crazy to reattach it, right? He gets some super glue, he gets crazy, and he tries staples, he tries a hot glue gun, but the stinger just won't go on into place, because he's not allowed to do more unless he's going to show that he's a worthy male. If anything, Elon Musk has shown us what it truly means to have a stinger with infinite stings. Idiocracy was such a great movie. Oh my God. Idiocracy predicting the future 30 years later. Like, even the presidency, like if you look at the president, the American president in Idiocracy, it is a it's like looking into a perfect future of what America would become. Like, truly dumb and dumber. And you have to look at the taxpayer, because this is something I like to say. all the time. Her body, my choice. Can you imagine a backward society that thinks that? Her body, my choice. Oh my God. I just feel like jumping into the lake and drowning myself with that rope inside that red container. There's rope just in case you get tired of living. You can just wrap it around. Idiocracy was prophecy, just like The Simpsons. Eventually, the citizens will become so stupid that they will continue to vote against their best interest. Oh my God. All right, folks, I got to go home and let's see. What am I going to go home and do? Should I go home and stick my thumb in my rear? Because, man, I definitely was constipated this morning. I went to the bathroom and I sat down and I'm like, oh, God, this hurts. It really, really did. Because I didn't eat anything yesterday. And so I sat down. I didn't think there was going to be much. And bam. And, yeah, that really happened. Stick in the electrical socket. The end of Idiocracy is awesome. I used the government listening to Elon Musk clone. All right, guys, I gotta go home and figure out what I'm going to do in order to pass time. I will probably end up putting my thumb in my rear just to see if I can feel anything. Thank you guys for coming to watch. Thank you guys for the donations. You guys are amazing. And I hope I will see you back here tomorrow.